Welcome to the second lecture. This is Semantics and Pragmatics course, and this is Dr. Fahad bin Deheish teaching you. Our second lecture is dedicated to semantic relations. Semantic relations. So what are semantic relations? Well, just by looking at the title, we understand that we're going to focus on semantics, right? I don't see the word pragmatics in this title. So, in this lecture, we're actually only focusing on semantics, the meaning of words. Relations is the relationships between vocabulary. Now, in everyday talk, we frequently give the meanings of words, not in terms of their component features, but in terms of their relationships. We don't usually define the word, right? When someone is asking me about the word shallow, for example, I don't go and define the word shallow. What is the meaning of shallow by a definition? I usually give the opposite, right? Or the sameness of a word. So shallow would be the opposite of deep, right? Or sometimes I give the same meaning. I would say big is the same as large, or conceal is the same as hide, right? And sometimes I define words by hierarchy. So I would say a banana is a type of fruit, or a tulip is a kind of flower. A kitchen is a room in the house, right? So we do a lot of relations, words relations, or semantic relations in order to define a word or describe a word. Okay, so sometimes we are saying the same word. We call that synonymy. Synonymy. We sometimes bring up the opposite of the word. Big, small. Big, small. That's antonymy. The opposite is antonymy. We sometimes think about hyponymy. So there is a hierarchy. Hierarchy, right? A tulip is a flower. A hamburger is food. Carrot is vegetable. And vegetable is plant. So actually the hierarchy goes on and on. I can say, for example, dog. Dog is an animal. Animal is a created thing. I also can say chihuahua. Chihuahua is a type of dog. And a dog is an animal. An animal is a created thing or a living thing. Okay? So in this lecture in particular, we're going to deal with 6 types of lexical relations. When I say lexical, it means vocabulary. I'm dealing with vocabulary. So we're going to look at synonymy, antonymy, hyponymy, homophony, homonymy, and philosomy. Okay? They sound very similar when you read them like that, but they're actually very different. Let's go and check them out one by one. The first one here is synonymy. Synonymy. So I call 2 words synonyms when they are very closely related in meanings, when they have very closely related meanings, okay? Which is often, but not always, interchangeable in sentences. Some examples are Broad would be the same as wide. Broad or wide. Almost or nearly, they have the same similar meaning. Cab or taxi, I can ride in a cab or a taxi. Youth and adolescent. Youth and adolescent, right? Purchase and buy. Purchase and buy. My question is, are they really the same? Are these words really the same? I doubt it. They're very close in meaning, but they're not totally same. Okay? One of these words could be very appropriate to be used in a sentence, but its synonyms will not be appropriate. It would be actually odd. Let's take this example. Kathy had only one answer correct on the test. She had only one answer correct. Now, answer is the synonyms of what? Reply or reply. Reply, right? So, answer and reply. I can answer you or I can reply to you. Answer your letter or reply to your letter. Okay, so if answer and reply are synonyms, can I say Kathy had only one reply correct on the test? That would be odd, right? It will not be appropriate. It would be kind of confusing. So although answer and reply are synonyms, they're very closely related in meaning. They basically have some kind of sameness in meaning. They're not totally same. They're not totally same. So sometimes I use synonyms to be different, to just change my vocabulary. But if that synonyms is not right, I'm actually putting myself into troubles. My language would be odd, Okay. Sometimes I want to sound formal. So I say, my father purchased a large automobile. That's kind of very formal sentence, right? Now, how would that be compared to, my dad bought a big car? My dad bought a big car. That would be kind of less formal, would be more informal. Okay? So sometimes we use synonyms to change the formality. We use synonyms. Okay? All right. Moving on. So we said two closely related words in meaning will be called synonyms. And that's one semantic relation between words or among words. The other type, or the other common type of words relations is antonymy. And I call two forms with opposite meanings, I call them antonymous, right? Antonymous. I can go quick or slow. I can be quick or slow. It's kind of the opposite. Quick, slow. Some people are rich, and other people are poor. Some people are old, and some people are young. I know some people who are old, and I have some friends who are young, for example. Alive is the opposite of dead. Okay? True is the opposite of false. This is so true. This is so false. They're the opposite. Don't you wish that antonymy is that easy? It actually has more details. Some of antonyms, we call them gradable antonyms. If they're gradable, they can be used in comparative constructions. So I compare with them. We said big and small are antonyms, right? So I can say my car is bigger than Ali's car. My car is bigger than Ali's car. Okay? But my car is smaller than Khalid's car. Okay? So my car is kind of in the middle. It's bigger than Ali's car and it's smaller than Khalid's car. So I'm actually somewhere in the middle. Okay? So it's gradable. It has grades. Very big, very small. I'm actually in the middle. Okay? The negative of one member of this pair, of this gradable antonymous pair, does not imply the other. When I say he's not old, it does not imply he's young. When I say Ahmed is not old, does that mean he is kind of young? He is a teenager or something? No. It does not imply that. When I say my car is not large, it does not imply that it is very small. It could be in the middle, right? You just notice that my car is bigger than Ali's and smaller than Khalid's. So I'm kind of in the middle. Same thing goes with large, for example, or old and young. We call these types of antonymies gradable antonymies. Gradable antonymies. The opposite of gradable antonymies is obviously non-gradable antonymies. Here, the negative of one element of this pair does indeed imply the other. When I say he is not dead, does it mean he's alive? Yes, it means he is alive. If someone is not dead, he is alive. If you go to the hospital and the doctor is saying, oh, I have a bad news, you might say, is he dead? He would say, no, that means he is alive. He could have a broken leg or a broken hand, but he is alive. Okay. Is there something between alive and dead, like in the middle? I don't think so. There is something between large and small, could be medium, right? That's my car, larger than Ali's, smaller than Khalid's. So I'm kind of in the middle. But with words like dead and alive, there is nothing in the middle. We call this non-gradable antonymies. Non-gradable antonymies. Okay. So, do we know the difference between gradable antonymies and non-gradable antonymies? I hope that's clear. With gradable antonymies, we actually can compare between the words. With non-gradable antonymies, it's actually either this or that. Either this or that. Okay? You could be true or false. There's nothing in the middle. Okay? I cannot say so and so is truer or more true than so and so. It would sound odd. Okay. The last types of antonymies are reversives. Reversives. Now, what does that mean? Here, it means that we're now looking at the negatives. We're not saying big, small thing. Okay? White, black thing. No. We're actually, in order to have the opposite or the antinomy, we need to do the reverse, to go back or to change direction. I can tie my shoes. Tie my shoes. Okay? Now if I want the opposite, it would be untie my shoes, right? Untie my shoes. So tying my shoes is one thing. The opposite is the reverse, is doing the reverse, untying. I can enter the room or do the opposite, exit the room. Before I go traveling, I pack my stuff in my luggage. I pack my stuff. After I arrive to my destination, I unpack, take them out. I can lengthen something, lengthen, make it longer, or shorten. So I'm doing the reverse. I can raise my voice or do the opposite, lower my voice. I can dress myself. So I put clothes on myself or do the opposite and dress myself. Okay? So we call all these examples reversives. Reversives. So with antinomies, we have gradable antinomies when we compare. We have non-gradable antinomies when actually the negative of one of them imply the other, not dead, so it means alive, and reservists or reversives, I'm sorry. So here we do the opposite. All these three types can go under antinomies. And speaking about going under things, we should arrive to hyponymy. Hyponymy. This means that the meaning of form is included in the meaning of another. So there is a hierarchy here, a hierarchy. Before we read anything on the slides, let's look at this shape. What is this? To injure, that's a verb, to injure. That's kind of general verb, okay? If you go to the hospital and you say, I have a patient who gets injured, the doctor might ask, how? So there are like types under this injure verb. Cut, to cut your hand is to injure yourself. To punch someone in the face is to injure someone. To shoot someone is to injure someone, or to stab him. To stab with a knife, for example, or a sharp thing. Is actually to injure. So injure here is a subordinate, is the one on top. Those that comes below it, we call them co-hyponyms, because there are many. There are many of them. There are many of them. Okay? Every one of these examples is a hyponym of the one on top. So cut is a hyponym of injure. A hyponym of injure. Okay? Let's think of other examples. Like we said earlier, what's a tulip? If I ask you to define tulip, you might say it's a kind of flower. So it's a hyponym of flower. How about dog? Again, it's a hyponym of animal. How about chihuahua? That's a hyponym of dog, which is a hyponym of animal. Carrot is a hyponym of vegetable, which is a hyponym of plant. Okay. So, words or nouns can be hyponyms, and also verbs, like we saw with injure, cut, punch, shoot, and stab. These are verbs, and they're also hyponyms. Okay? We call the word on top subordinate. and we call the words down there co-hyponyms. Like if you're working on a company, okay, you're having co-workers, so they are at the same level. Then in this hierarchy, and there is something on top, So far we took what? We spoke about synonyms, antonyms, and hyponymy, okay? 3 lexical relations. We actually halfway the lecture. There are more relationship with among words we still need to look at. Next is homophony. Okay. Homophony, or what we call homophones, when we have 2 or more different written forms that have the same pronunciation. How interesting is that? I can eat meat when I meet you. So, let's meet so we can eat meat. What about meat and meat here? These are 2 different words. Well, first of all, one of them is a verb, one of them is a noun. But not just that. The way we write them are different. Meat, M-E-A-T, versus meat, M-E-E-T. So we write them totally different, but we pronounce them the same. In this case, we call this homophones. Okay? How about flour and flour? I need flour to make a cake. I need a flour to give my friend. So here I'm referring to 2 different things. Flour, something I eat, and a flower, something nice, or a plant, a nice plant I can give as a gift, right? Are they the same spelling? No. Are they the same pronunciation? Yes. In this case we call them homophones. Other examples are pale and pale. Look them up in the dictionary. So and so. So and so. That's very straightforward, right? So with a needle and so. See and see. I see the sea. I see the sea, right? That's again homophones. Bear and bear. Bear and bear. Those are again homophones. You can see here 2 pictures of a flower and flower. A flower and flower. Okay. Next, we're going to speak about homonymy. When one form has 2 or more unrelated meanings, they are homonyms. Okay? These 2 words are identical in spelling, identical in pronunciation, identical in everything, but yet they are different in meaning. The meaning is not related. They're not related. Do you go to the bank to put your money? Bank. You know what I'm referring to, right? The financial institute, that building that has an ATM and it has people who help you with your money, right? Gives you advice about your money. Okay? So bank. You take your check and you cash it in the bank. Now, are we familiar with a different type of bank? Yeah. If you go to a river, for example, a river has 2 banks. So the edge of the river is a bank. Okay? Now in Palestine, when they say West Bank, they're not speaking about a bank where you put your money, right? They're not. الضفة الغربية. So, الضفة الغربية is the side of a river. Okay, so bank here is the same spelling as bank here. Same spelling. Same pronunciation, yes. Same everything, yes. Are they same meaning? Totally different. We call this homonyms. Okay? The same thing applies to bat. You know bat, the animal. Kind of scary, right? If you go to a cave, you might see a bat. A bat. Okay? The flying animal. Also, if you play baseball, you're using a bat. A bat. So, sport tool. Same spelling. Same pronunciation. Different and related meanings. Race and race. I'll take my car to the race. That's a contest of speed. I'm going to race you with my car, with my sporty car, or my sports car, right? We know race as also ethnic group. So what race are you? Like from which ethnicity are you? A mole in your skin? A mole in your skin? Or the animal, the small animal? Okay? Both here again. Same spelling, pronunciation, the same, different and related meanings. When we have that, we call these homonyms. Homonyms. Okay? Now, keep that in mind because blasphemy, the last one, is kind of confusing. Now, here we arrive at blasphemy. Blasphemy. It's one word, one form of a word that has multiple meanings that are all related by extension. So what's the difference between blasphemy and, what was that? Homonyms. Homonymy. They're kind of very similar, right? But here, in the first one, we had same word, same pronunciation, same written form, and related meanings. Here, we're having the same word again, but related extended meaning. Extended meaning. Now I can speak about the head. You know, this is the head, part of your body, right? But I can tell you, no, 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 no. I'm speaking about this department. Who's the head? So who is the head of the department? Or I'm speaking about this company. Who's the head? Who's the head of this company? Meaning, who's the manager? Who's the boss? Right? Who's the boss of this company or institute? So the top. See, both of them means top. Head is in the top of your body. The head in a company is actually the top of that company. Same applies with foot. Foot. Could be the foot of a person. My foot, or a foot of the bed. So the bed had foot, right? Or the foot of a mountain. That means the closest part to the earth, foot. Not the tip or top or summit. It's the foot that I'm speaking to. I can use a verb like run. A person runs, right? I run, you run. So as people we run. The water runs. Someone might come to the house and yell, who left the water running? The water was running. Who's wasting that water, right? So runs for a water. It's different than running that I and you do, right? Also, the color might run. You could be using some colors and the color might run. As sometimes the color of a mascara, for example, might run on your face. We call that running. But it is different than running as a person. You sometimes go to the doctor, especially during winter time, and you say, I have a runny nose. That means different than running of a person. Okay? We call this blasphemy. Blasphemy. So what's the difference between polysemy and homonymy? Well, homonymy, we said, they're having unrelated meanings. With polysemy, they actually have an extended related meaning. That still can be confusing for some. How do we distinguish between homonymy and polysemy? How? Well, one easy way we can refer to is through the dictionary. You know, in every dictionary there is a word entry, right? So, the entry, if we have multiple entries, 1, 2, 3, 4, every time we have a different separate entry, that means a different word. When we have a different word, that's basically homonymy, right? Homonymy. A word like date. Date could be a point in time. A date. This day, this month, and that year, I'll meet you. That's a date. Also, there is a date we can eat, right? We can eat. It's a fleshy, sweet, sugary fruit. That's also a date. If we look at this in this way, it's basically homonymy. Homonymy. Why? Because these are two words having the same spelling, same pronunciation, but have unrelated meanings. Okay? So only if we look at date in this way, like this is a point of time and this is a fruit, we call them homonymy. Now the confusing thing comes when we deal with the date as a date. We can say a date on a letter. So I wrote this letter on that specific date. Again, it's kind of still number with a month and a day. A date as an appointment. I have an appointment at the hospital on that day. Or a date as when people meet socially. They go and meet with someone else. So they have a date. Again, these three words or three shades of meaning relates to numbers. That makes them polysemy or relate to polysemy, not homonymy. You see, when we said it's time and food, that's basically homonymy. They're different. When they had extended meanings, a date on a letter, a date as an appointment, and a date as a time to meet someone, they all refer to time, not food. That we call that polysemy. Okay? With that, we actually end our second lecture of the course Semantics Pragmatics. I hope that was helpful, and I'm looking forward to meet with you on our third lecture. Till then, stay good وكونوا في رعاية الله. السلام عليكم.